Oh, thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, and what a wonderful conference this is. I really learned so much already. Oh, it's already turned around. There you go, there you go. I have a little light reading if anyone's interested in something for their trip home. I'm going to pass this down. There's probably one for each delegation group, I hope. I hope they last for that. So I thought I'd start out with this map, which I just saw for the first time a couple of weeks ago. The United States, as we know, has been working to pull out of the Paris Climate Accord, and there's a deep division in our country over the reality of climate change. And I would like to posit that one reason for that is that so much of the United States, as you can see, there really is not experiencing that much. All those areas that are light have seen very little actual effect of climate change on their own economies and weather systems. However, the red areas are seeing a lot of change, and I am from one of those there in Northern California. And this is since 1895, so it's a pretty long look. I was just in, oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Oh, other way, okay.
It's the other way around. It's a bit counterintuitive.
Okay.
There we are.
So it's up to go down.
Exactly.
Okay. One of our, is that the top one?
Going back
No, I just want to start from the first one again.
on the map.
And I think I used the down button, right? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I found this a very interesting map, and to me it explained part of the issue we're having with a lot of people in my country not really feeling or seeing or believing the impact of climate change. I'm still doing that wrong. All right, California. Wine tourism is a huge part of what we do in Sonoma County, and a big reason why people come there. Therefore, we pumped out 638 millions of gallons, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, but I want to get through this fast because I know we're at the end here. The thing that's important on this one is that due to the changing climate, by the end of the century, maybe before, Sonoma County would be forced to just growing grapevines on the coast, which is currently being used for Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc, wines that require cooler temperatures, grapes that require cooler temperatures. That may be all the areas, the only area that's really workable, viable for growing a number of different varietals. This isn't an immediate problem, but it is in the horizon. And because of that, there's a change in varietals slowly going on. In preparation for the warming climate, some vineyards are already making changes. One of the ones we are focusing on in a case study we're doing, for instance, planted drought-tolerant vines as an experiment to see if they do well as the years get warmer. We do know a number of types of wines that do well, but they, so far, have been heat-adapted wines that can be used for blends, meaning they are not really suitable for fine wines and certainly not suitable for $100, $200, $500 bottle of wine. So there's work to be done there on that. And I think some international input on types of varietals that are growing in other places as well. Very interestingly, during the horrific fires we experienced 2 years ago, as you can kind of see here, the foreground, everything's burned. But as you get into the row, it stopped. The vines are stopping the fires, which was really, really interesting. The fires just could not really break through because they're green, the vines are green, and the vines themselves are not that flammable compared to the other loose wood around. We had a lot of heavy vegetation due to all of the rains, so that was a big driver in these fires that we are experiencing now in Southern California, last year and the year before in Northern California. And there's periodic fires everywhere in California. Fire danger and power outages. Yes, I hear that tomorrow we're going to have another power outage. I honestly never thought, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, would California ever have like regular power outages? I would have said, I don't think so. Now there are. And we're going to have a 95-degree day tomorrow. And the utility, the public utility, which has been pinned with the responsibility for both of the last two fires due to downed lines and problems with transformers, has decided, well, just cut off the power. So that's going on. I don't know how long that's going to last. One area had 5 days. Actually, Sonoma Valley had 4 days of power outages. It was pretty intense. I live in a town that has the emergency grid, so we were not shut down. And because of that, people were coming from 20-minute, half-hour, 45-minute drives to internet cafes to use the internet for days. Rebuilding Santa Rosa. This is what it looked like after the night of fire. This was all homes. There's some rebuilding going on. Coffey Park is a kind of a important area because it has a lot of more affordable housing, or somewhat affordable housing, and it's being rebuilt somewhat faster. We lost, really, I think, this one says 3,000. I've also heard 5,000. I guess it depends on who's counting how many homes we've lost. We also had a big outflow of people. People have been leaving Sonoma County after the fires because there's no place for them to live, and certainly no place affordable for them to live. And that is a major, major effect, both on tourism, especially because a lot of the people who are leaving are doing so for economic reasons, and a lot of those people work in the service sector, work in the hospitality sector. So as you can imagine, we are having some really big labor shortages. Once again this year, we sponsored a conference. We were one of the sponsors of a conference, Sustainable Enterprise Conference, in partnership with Sonoma State. We collected survey results for satisfaction with tourism and other things that we added about transportation, and what they feel is the potential for tourism, both to develop and also to be developed better and done better. This is last week. Sonoma's full of volunteers. It's a wonderful thing. It allows a lot of things to happen in Sonoma County that don't happen in other places because there's a lot of free labor in the form of volunteers who will work if there's nice parties at the end of it and things like that. And it's a picture of one of our congressmen who attended, the alcalde of Sonoma, myself, and a featured artist who was one of the awarded people. We are really working on community outreach and going to as many different events as we can, talking to as many people as we can, collecting as much data there as we can. 5 years ago, Sonoma County Winegrowers made a declaration to the world that they were committed to the nation's first 100% certifiable sustainable wine region, 2019. In September, Carissa Cruz, president of that association, announced that Sonoma County now has a record-breaking 99% of its local vineyards certified sustainable. I will say, as a caveat, some are more sustainable than others, but nonetheless, there's been a huge push throughout the industry to become sustainable. With this, plans are being made for Sonoma's next step, the California Land Stewardship Institute's Climate Adaptation Certification Program, which will bring a more cohesive approach to climate change measures that are being taken. In response to the 99% number, our first publication from the Observatory is a case study of, it started with 13, but now we're up at 20, sustainable wineries using all sorts of different methodologies. And we're really pleased with the way that's coming through. It's going to be published as a textbook by an international publisher, which we're pretty excited about. And we would like to learn more from other countries about sustainable winery practices. So there we go, towards the future. More sustainability for all of us. Any questions? Thank you very much.